worry not, I am in the middle of reading Warcross by Marie Lu, and once I'm finished with that, I will obviously have a review up for that. But anyway, that's just a little sneak peek of what to expect. Wow, past Sophia. There was a change of plans. So I was reading Warcross, and then Turtles All the Way Down came out. So I read this, and I finished this. I also did finish Warcross, so I will have a review up for that. It just ended up not being the next video I posted. So, hey everyone, I hope y'all are having a great day, and today I'll be reviewing Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. This is John Green's newest book since his 2012 mind-blowing success with The Fault in Our Stars, and after over 5 years of not publishing, John Green has returned to the YA scene with this contemporary fiction novel about a girl named Ava, her struggle with anxiety, and the mystery of a missing billionaire who happens to be the father of one of her childhood friends. So here's my thing with John Green. I think he is an incredibly talented writer, like stylistically, with his diction and his syntax and his ideas, the way he expresses what he wants to say. I think undeniably he's one of the best YA writers out there. That being said, I don't always enjoy his stories. I'm pretty sure I've read all of his solo works, and I think they're all very excellently written, but they're not necessarily my favorite books. I don't find the stories particularly compelling, with the exception of Tivios. That one really hit me hard. And then there's also that entire narrative that John Green, this straight male white author, has become the savior of YA fiction, which isn't a reflection on him as a person or as a writer. It's just this narrative that the media has constructed. But anyways, that's just like a can of worms I'm not going to open. My point is, I think John Green knows how to write. I wish I could write like him. But his books are not really my favorites, and so I was hesitant to jump into Turtles All the Way Down. Is this upside down? Yeah. There we go. I definitely wasn't planning on reading it right away. I was still debating whether I wanted to give it a shot. But then I saw so many people on Twitter, on the internet, praising this book, saying that it was their new favorite book of the year, that it was John Green's best work yet, etc., etc. Just a lot of hype. And so I bought into that hype, literally bought into it like I bought this physical book. And so here we are. I really enjoyed Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I think it can be extremely impactful for a certain audience, but I do also think that it could have been better polished and better refined before being published. I felt that the story just wasn't very cohesive as an entire unit, and some people could argue that that's just a genuine reflection of how real life is, and that John Green is now employing a level of realism that he hasn't employed in his previous works. But really, if you compare it to Tivios, which in my opinion is one of the most polished books out there, Tivios, in my opinion, is one of those books that is just so finely tuned that every line feels razor sharp. And Turtles did not feel that way at all, which is good because it really reflects the content that it's embodying, if that makes sense. Kind of like Asa herself, the writing in Turtles, it wanders, it drifts, sometimes it spirals into itself. It'd be generous to say that this book has a lot to do with the missing billionaire that is talked about in the synopsis, because really the story is just about Asa as a character and how she constructs or deconstructs the relationships with the people around her. I think this novel is an exploration more than it is anything else, and consequently I think it does require some patience or some empathy to appreciate this for what it's worth. So that being said, it's not something that I'd necessarily recommend as a source of pure entertainment, but it is so thoughtful and such a rich book that the real value in it is the questions that it brings up, and then also the way that you respond to it. So you kind of mull over John Green's ideas, you pick it apart, and that's really what's exciting about this book. So the central crux of Turtles is definitely the fact that Asa, our main character, struggles with her anxiety. A lot of the narrative of the story is Asa just stuck in her own head, hating the thoughts that go through her brain, wanting to escape them, and she's just unable to control the directions that her thoughts go into, especially when they start spiraling. And I think by anchoring the novel in Asa's anxiety, it gives Turtles the capacity to reach people in a highly effective way. And I think that's why so many readers have had such a profound resonance with this book. John Green's writing in Turtles All the Way Down is, as always, beautiful and thoughtful and intelligent, and I've criticized him for that in the past, saying that it was unrealistic or that it was kind of irritating that he'd write these teenage characters who somehow are super well-versed in philosophers and can spontaneously monologue in the most refined, beautiful prose, and they speak like 30-year-olds. But something that I still very, very much appreciate about John Green's writing is that he never dumbs things down for his readers. Like, it's very clear, he knows, we all know that a lot of his readers are young people, but he keeps his writing elevated. He doesn't lower it down to try to reach his audience or anything like that because he has faith in his readers, and that's something that I so appreciate. He doesn't feel the need to dilute his ideas or spoon feed them to his readers. He trusts them. He knows that teenagers are smarter than what they get credit for. And so the respect that he has for his readers' intelligence, it's just something that I appreciate so, so much. Now I'm going to go into a quick spoiler section for Turtles All the Way Down. So if you haven't read this book and you do not wish to be spoiled, I'd advise leaving in 3, 2, 1. Bye-bye. I want to touch on Ava and Daisy's relationship for a second because I found it one of the most powerful elements of the book and also just one of the most fascinating. When Ava reads Daisy's fan fiction and recognizes herself in one of Daisy's characters, I got really angry on behalf of Ava. I was like, that is so rude and so offensive. But to the credit of John Green, I kind of later switched sides almost, where I really, really sympathized with Daisy. And what was so effective about the way John Green wrote this relationship was that the reader got the sense of how nuanced both sides of the arguments were, and you could see both sides, and it made it impossible to really see who is the right side in the situation. Like, ultimately, you don't really have an alliance with Daisy or with Ava. You just kind of understand it as a third party, and you're like, wow, I get it. I understand why this is a problem. Like, yes, on Ava's side, anxiety sucks. And no one understands it because no one is in your head with you. Only the person who's suffering this specific kind of anxiety will understand what it's like, and that can be very isolating and all-consuming. On the other hand, on Daisy's side, what is the extent to which we excuse bad behavior under the name of mental illness? Like, in this case, is having anxiety enough of a reason for you to never be engaged with your friend, to never know what she's doing, where she's from, not want to learn anything about her because you're always stuck in your own head, but then you still expect them to devote energy into you? I just found this question really, really interesting, and I'm glad John Green brought it up through Daisy and Ava's relationship. Something I definitely wanted from Turtles but didn't get was closure. And now I know John Green does this unique thing at the end where he kind of flashes the rest of Ava's life at the very end of the book, so we get to see like what she does and the fact that she gets married and stuff like that. And so that's like one kind of closure, but the closure I'm really looking for is about the mystery of Pickett. Like, for a novel whose summary advertises an investigation of a missing billionaire, I expected that to play a lot larger of a role in the story than it did. The investigation was honestly hardly there, and it was only solved by like coincidence by going to this underground art show. And then we find out that Pickett's dead body is found there, but we don't know why. He died of exposure, whatever, but like why? Why did he want to die? Why did he go there to die? Why did he leave his children? Like, there's so many questions that are left unanswered, and these questions were just so important to me and like so important to Davis and Noah's story that I felt very dissatisfied when we didn't get these answers. Also, the abrupt ending of Asa and Davis's relationship, that also left me dissatisfied. I feel like they needed more. But yeah, I'd really love to know where Turtles stands amongst your ranking of John Green's other books. It's definitely not my favorite. My favorite is still Tifios, but I still really enjoyed this. But yeah, Tifios is still my favorite, but I think Turtles has the potential to really deeply hit readers who find themselves in Asa. A lot of the beauty of this book comes from how genuine the portrayal of Asa is. And I think a lot of that stems from John Green asserting his own personal experiences into his writing. And I think that's very brave, and I think it's very effective. But please let me know what you thought of Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I'd love to know your thoughts. Thanks so much for watching. I hope y'all have a fantastic day and happy reading. Bye!